I was all teed up to talk about the Saints defensive line today. That was in the log when I woke up this morning. And what I didn't know when I woke up this morning was that Bo Davis is going to be the defensive line coach, which has at least half of my audience a little bit salty that the Saints have taken the defensive line coach from the LSU Tigers. However, there's at least half the audience that's thrilled that the Saints got a really good position coach, and I think that they did. So it was not my intention to tie this into Bo Davis. It just happened that way. But I was reading yesterday, Pro Football Focus analyst Mason Cameron put together a list of dream off-season signings for everybody in the NFL. And he has two, well, not off-season signings, off-season additions for every team. And he goes to the free agent market as well as the NFL draft. And so he's got two for the Saints, and both come on the defensive line. And the more that I think about the two names that he's brought up, the more I like the idea of this type of addition. It doesn't necessarily have to be these exact two guys, but these are the two profiles that I really, or two of the profiles I really like. Let's be clear. The Saints can use really good players just about everywhere. So this is not the missing piece or anything, but I like the idea that Mason Cameron goes with here. It starts with Los Angeles Chargers defensive lineman Teair Tart. Teair Tart is a former undrafted free agent in 2020, and he's really done a nice job as a rotational piece on the defensive front for Los Angeles for the last 5 seasons. He's got 108 career stops, 21 tackles for loss. He's 28 years old, and he's thought of as a run-stopping presence on the defensive line. The Saints need run stoppers. Brian Brzee has got to get better at run stopping. He's already a really good pass rusher on the interior, which is tougher to find anyway. But he's got to get better at that, but you still need help for him stopping the run. And you've gone out and you got Colin Saunders, but, I mean, you've been bad stopping the run. There's no two ways about that. You were in the bottom 5 teams in the NFL in run stopping last year. And that was a hallmark of what made the Saints good for years and years and years. It's gone. They got to get it back. And I'm not suggesting Teair Tart is going to completely transform the defense. What I am suggesting is you're talking about a guy that would be pretty inexpensive. And he brings a skill set that you really need. So while I don't advocate the Saints spending a bunch of money this offseason, they may not. I don't advocate it. You do have to go spend a little bit of money here and there. And this seems to be a really good fit. A veteran who has a skill set you can use that's a weakness of yours currently that's going to be on the cheap. That's what the Saints have to do. They've got a bargain shop. The Saints can't go out and big spend. They can't do what Washington can do. They can't do what Chicago can do. These are teams with a lot of cap space that can go supplement their rosters with big names. Saints can't. Teair Tart, not a big name. I like the fit, though. So that's number one in this dream offseason that Mason Cameron put together. The other piece I really like, and that's James Pearce from Tennessee. Now, he would have to be their first-round pick. And we're going to talk a ton about what the Saints should do at the top of the draft. Positions, players, tactics, whether that's trading up, trading back, all of that. But this far out, I think it's good to discuss profiles of players that they may be interested in. And I think Pearce makes a ton of sense. You're going to move to a 3-4. And so Pearce would be an outside linebacker in that fit. And you're talking about a guy who was super productive at Tennessee. 19.5 sacks and 30 tackles for loss. Now, is he the best run defender? Right now, no. But he can get after the passer. And the Saints couldn't do that last year either. You know Cam Jordan's pass rushing days are over. They're done. He's not going to be a 10-sack guy ever again. Can he get 2 on a given Sunday next year? Sure. Can he get 10 in a season? No. Carl Granderson did not live up to his paycheck last year. That's got to change. It could. That's not unreasonable. He's not old. He's got to play better. And Chase Young, we'll see what the situation is there. But I don't count on Isaiah Foskey, quite frankly. That's 2 years of nothing from him. I don't expect him to show something significant. You've got to find some juice off the edge. And the best place to do that is in the draft. And the Saints are probably not high enough to get a quote-unquote elite quarterback. They're high enough to get a dude that can rush the passer. And I think James Pearce would be a great fit here in Brandon Staley's defense. He's 6'5", long arms, and does something the Saints desperately need. He may not be a 10-sack guy in 2025, but there's reason to believe in 26, 27, 28, maybe 29, you may have an elite level edge rusher, and you've got to have that. And as I start to consider the Saints' moves, their decisions, I think about the next really good Saints team. And the first round pick in this year's draft has to be on the next really good Saints team. You cannot airball on another first round pick. The guy you take in this draft has to be impactful. And I think there's absolutely reason to believe that James Pearce could be that guy. I don't love the idea of going back to the offensive line. You've spent so many high picks on that. I don't love the idea of a quarterback at 9 because I don't think one that you really believe in is going to be there. I don't even really love the idea of going running back with Ashton Genty because I think you can find that later. I really think the positions that the Saints really need to look at early in this draft are defensive front, safety, and then get to the playmakers. We had Sharif Ishak on Tuesday. He wants playmakers. And I get that. It's fun to talk about. It's not as fun to talk about a guy who might clog the run, who was an undrafted free agent in 2020 from the Chargers. That's not great fun to talk about. But it's vital to the success of a team. It is fun to talk about a guy that could theoretically be a 10 or 12 sack guy, which I think James Pearce could be. I think you'll find a lot of analysts that think he could be that. That pick, to me, makes a ton of sense. If you can get a veteran run stopper on the cheap, do it. If you can get an elite level pass rusher on the cheap, which a first round pick is on the cheap, you've got to do it. We'll talk about a lot of names over the course of the next couple of months that makes sense for the Saints to take in the draft. And I'm not banging the gavel and declaring this thing done. You got to go edge rusher. You really have to figure out what the draft looks like in front of you and then make a decision. I'm just telling you, as we sit here right now, as February is turning to March, and I'm looking at the board and I'm seeing this suggestion put out there, I like it. I like it a lot. Because I can't right now point to a player on the Saints roster that I feel really good about getting 10 sacks in 2026. Cam's done. You're going to have Chase Young, may not be on the team. I don't know what the future holds for Granderson. He's got to be better than he was last year. This could be that dude. And I like the idea of it. So that's all right there from the folks at Pro Football Focus. If you want to look at that story, you can find it there at PFF. If you want our Saints coverage, you can find it at Hunt on Saints on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on Saints as well. All year long, Saints football. Don't have to siphon through things for it. And we appreciate y'all subscribing up to the channel. It's over 3,000 subscribers for Hunt on Saints. We really appreciate all of that. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button. Leave your comments in the section below. And hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.